Hey guys, I'm Chris with M7 Metalworks. Welcome back. We're not in the shop today. We're actually in my gun room. This is where I do a lot of reloading and gun cleaning, and here lately knife sharpening. So I recently purchased this Tormek T8 and I love it. It seems to be a really easy system to learn. The learning curve is short for me. I've only sharpened just a couple knives and I can already shave with them. So pretty nice system. I have found a limiting factor with it though, and that is this jig. I think it's called a something 45, like a T45 or something like that. But anyways, 45 is the number of it. I think it's just their standard knife jig that comes with the T8. So one of the things that I'm noticing is when I've got a knife in here, and those of you that have it, you're probably watching this video for this very purpose, is you know, the way the instructions are is you're to lift, as you're pulling it up, you're to lift the base of this knife or the butt of the knife. You're to lift that handle so that you can adjust for the curvature of that knife tip. The problem with that is you get uneven bevels. And so I'm trying to eliminate that. I spend a lot of time on a knife like this, okay, and I really don't want to have uneven bevels, or at least minimize it as much as I can. So when I do try to adjust, because ideally a combination of lifting the heel of the knife and rotating the jig is really the best solution. The problem is when you rotate this jig, it actually lifts up on this plastic piece. And so instead of just pivoting, I want it to just pivot, but it's actually lifting up. So it pulls the knife away, and that is not what I want. And so a little research on the internet, and I found guys were, for that same problem, the same issue I'm having, they were modifying their jigs just a little bit. And there is a group of guys out there, I think knife grinders from Australia. I believe they're actually manufacturing some of these, but the waiting list was like 3 to 4 months. They make a batch and then sell them, and so I think they've recently made a batch and I missed out on that. But I can't wait 3 or 4 months. That's just not happening. I'm not that patient. So we're going to make this today in the shop. Pretty simple little project. I don't think it's anything that you couldn't do. Now you're going to see me use different tools in the shop. You can substitute any of those tools, so not a big deal. Let me show you real quick how it works. So it's very simple to change out. Just simply, these ears go perpendicular to the blade or the spade of this jig. Very simple to do. And it doesn't have to be perfectly perpendicular, but just eyeball it. Got a little Allen set screw right in there. And so just, here's your advantage. So by putting it on like that, I can do everything the original jig can do. I can run it along, no problems at all. But when I pivot now, I'm just pivoting on one little pin versus this thing here tilting the whole jig up. So it changes it dramatically when it does that. And so there's a real advantage to using a modification on a jig like this. And I think this is a far better design than the original, and it's way overbuilt. I'll never probably destroy that. And to be honest with you, though I'm keeping this and it's all completely reversible, I probably never will. I'll probably never put this back on. I'll keep it, but I'll never put it back on. I'll end up keeping this on pretty much forever. I don't really do a lot of adjustment on the handle. I'll put it, set it, and leave it. Most of my adjustments right here on the apparatus that attaches to the machine itself. And so I won't do anything like that. So if this is something that you think maybe you'd be interested in, something that maybe you want to make for your own, stick around. I'll do my best to show you guys how I did mine. You can modify yours and adjust it in any way, shape, or form that you so choose. Again, this is not my original idea. This is something that some guys on the internet come up with. And I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. So I'm going to modify it, make it my own, and we're going to use it. So stick around. We'll show you how I did mine. Okay, guys, so got this nut here. It's pretty good size nut. I'll give you dimensions. So as you can see, it's just at 1 1/8 inch wide. The diameter is too large though. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to take my MIG welder and I'm going to weld the inside of this hole. And I'm going to fatten that up, and then I'll drill it to the size that we need. Our shaft size, is under a 1/2 inch. And this is well over 5/8. So we just need to fill in some weld, and then we'll drill it and get the right size. And then what we can do is we can tap it. We'll drill the side and we'll tap it, and that way we'll be able to slide that in and lock it in, and then we'll have a bar above and a bar below. So let's do that now. Okay. So now that we've taken that and we've welded it, I've drilled it. I've also drilled on the side. Now it's time to tap that side. So we're going to do that now. I just put it on my belt sander just to grind that somewhat flat. It's not a critical thing because that's not really going to matter. That's just, it's the hole that's the most important thing. It isn't perfect inside from drilling, but I'll smooth it out a little bit, but it does fit on the shaft now. So now let's tap that. Okay guys, so set screw. Alright guys, so now we've got the little collar that goes on the jig, and these two bars are what get welded, one up top and one below. I've chamfered the edges and just kind of sanded them down and cleaned them up a little bit. And now what we'll do, the next task is to weld one above and one below. So we'll do that now, and I think we'll use the MIG welder for this. Okay guys, so I've squared it to the table by putting it against this. And you can kind of get a look right over the top. So the plan here would be to get a small weld here and a small weld on the other side. And then once those two welds are there, we can then weld this on the back side and have plenty of strength there. These welds are really just to set it so that we don't get a lot of movement. And then of course we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. That's that. Hey guys, welcome to the gun room. So the whole purpose of this was to be able to angle. So Tormek talks about lifting as you get different angles on your knives. The problem is that doesn't always work. Depending on the knife, and I make these hunting knives and they don't. So I do lift. It's a combination of both. I lift at the heel of the knife, but then I also turn to try to keep the blade in the same area. So I'll try to demonstrate this, and I'm probably going to have to give you a few different views. So spot right there I need to get. but I'm getting a little wire. So that's good. Just got another pass or two and I'll be done with this side.